In 2007, the Mayakoba Golf Classic became the first official PGA Tour event to be played in Mexico. This week, it marks the 14th edition in Playa del Carmen in the final full-field event of the year. And with that, welcome into Golf Central. Steve Burkowski with you. Chip Eisenhower joins me in just a moment. And we are nearly a quarter of the way through this wraparound PGA Tour season. It is the 12th of 50 events on the schedule. And for our George Savaricas, it's a heavy, heavy lift to go down to the Mayakoba Golf Classic. And he has more on the highest-ranked player in the field this week.
Burko, the last time we saw Justin Thomas, he was putting the finishing touches on a 12-under week at Augusta. Most years at the Masters, that would be good enough to be in contention. But JT finished solo fourth, 8 shots back of Dustin Johnson. Since then, he's had some time off, and I asked Justin what he's done in prep work for the Mayakoba Golf Classic, as well as his expectations for this week.
It was a lot of no golf the first week. I literally, when I pulled in the house at home, I took the bags out of the trunk and I set my clubs in my garage, and I didn't touch them again till Monday. So the following Monday, it was nice to get a little bit of time off. I mean, something about Augusta just seems to drain you a little bit, and without the fans and all the adrenaline rush, it wasn't quite as much. But I still wanted nothing to do with golf, and then obviously getting ready for here while also enjoying Thanksgiving and spending some time with some friends. But no, it's just a nice relaxing time, and coming down here to another relaxing place.
I was looking at the numbers. The gap between where Dustin and Rory is at 4 is greater than Rory and 50th in the world right now. With what Dustin did at the Masters, and your guy obviously on that short list of players who could ascend to world number 1, does it feel like he's starting to separate from guys who are 3, 4, 5 in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say it feels like it, because he is. It's probably going to be a little bit before it gets to a time where someone could catch him. I mean, winning major and winning some big tournaments always helps with that, and that's what he's done. You can't, although I've played really well and feel like I've had a lot of chances to win some majors and big tournaments, you can't finish 5th and 8th and 4th and 6th in this day and age and expect to be number 1 in the world. So if I want to regain that from him, I need to start winning some more tournaments.
What made this a good fit to add it to your schedule?
I remember liking this course when I played my rookie year, and honestly, I really enjoyed playing the President's Cup last year in December. I felt like this has been a month that I haven't used to my advantage very well in the past. You obviously want your time to relax and be away from golf and take it off, but I haven't necessarily used it productively. I haven't been working on my game maybe as much as I should, or working on my body as much as I should, and I feel like playing something competitive, here at the start of the month is going to hopefully help me, and then obviously with the father-son in a couple weeks, that'll do hopefully the same.
Justin looking forward to playing with his father Mike and the father-son, and some trash talk between the Thomas family and the Woods family, but not between Justin and Tiger. It's actually Tiger's son Charlie who's been saying how badly he wants to try and beat Justin. JT sharing that earlier, and it's pretty crazy, Burko. If you look at the gap between ages, Charlie Woods closer in age to Justin, 11 to 27, than Justin is to Tiger at 44.
Well, George, that means we're just getting old. We'll check back with you a little bit later in the show. And apparently it's starting early for Charlie, talking some trash. That's going to be fun at the father and son in a couple weeks' time. Trip Eisenhower now on board. We just heard from Justin Thomas. Yeah. What are your expectations of him in Mexico this week?
I think he's going to play well. He's going to continue to play well. He's coming off, he's had a couple of top 4 finishes in his last 2 starts, one notably the Masters. Now, he was never in contention there with what DJ was doing. It was kind of the DJ show, but it kind of a chase for the next best guy. And he was in that chase a little bit. He played solid all 4 rounds. he's just missing that little bit. There's a little lull, and he mentioned that earlier in his press conference that, you know, he maybe needs to focus a little bit earlier in the week because that's been what's kept him out of the winner's circle. He has been in contention. He did finish 8th at the U.S. Open. So in major championships, he's doing the right things, but he wants to get there and win more often. And he did win, you know, last season and was in the running, if you will, for Player of the Year, one of those guys that was there, but it was really, again, Dustin Johnson's to run away with. I look at the evolution of his game and this golf course in particular, and his wedge game has gotten so much better than the first time I saw him hit the PGA Tour. He had what typical young players have, a big high flight, not a lot of control of the spin. And over the years, Steve, we've seen him hit a lot of quality wedge shots to win tournaments, the Honda Classic and Mexico, which he didn't win, but holding out there to get into a playoff with Phil Mickelson. So he's got the game for this tight place. We'll see how he does. There's a lot of crosswinds on these fairways that can confuse him, but I definitely look for him to play well this week and be part of the story.
What are some of the adjustments he might have to make on this golf course? We talked about it last night on Golf Central, that some of the shorter hitters have done well here. Well, Justin Thomas hits it a long way. What might he have to rein back in a little bit here this week?
The hard thing with this golf course is, as I said, there's some crosswinds, and these fairways kind of angle a little bit, and they take the longer hitter, they handcuff them a little bit. So it's the reason why the predominant winners here are the Fred Funks, the Brian Gays, the Mark Wilsons, the Graham McDowells, the Matt Kuchar, the guys that hit it very, very straight, and not necessarily the longest out there. Now, Justin is one of the longest. He's got a ton of power. Now, his advantage is he can hit 3-woods on those holes. But the key on this golf course is there's several holes you have to challenge these penalty areas, because you've got to start the ball on those and trust the wind to move it. It's a very difficult golf course to drive on, and that shows every year. It's one of the shortest and one of the toughest fairways to hit. That'll be the key for him, because if he can do that, the iron game is there, and the putting is pretty solid as well.
And he's one of the best players in the world. I'm sure
number 3 in the world.
Yeah,
that helps.
He's a quick study. He'll figure it out soon enough, that's for sure. There's not a stop on the PGA Tour like the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and with the hundreds of thousands of fans that normally flock to Arizona each and every year, the question is, what will 2021 look like just a couple of months from now? Well, news coming out today say plans are being made to allow fans to attend the event next February at TPC Scottsdale. Tournament chairman Scott Jenkins said Monday that the Thunderbirds, who run the event, are working with local and state officials as they determine just how many spectators to allow, including a scaled-back version of the famous par 3 16th hole. The fall season in the books for college golf, and it was a very different-looking 2020 fall college golf season. Give you a quick update here. The condensed seasons, just 2 of the Power 5 conferences played. That was the SEC and the Big 12. The other 3 Power 5 conferences that did not play at all. That's the ACC, the Big 10, and the Pac-12. Those 3 plan on playing in the spring, just a couple of months from now. A couple of top players in the men's side that stood out: Davis Thompson from Georgia, William Mull from Vanderbilt. They enjoyed the shorter regionalized fall campaign, certainly made the most of that. And how about a couple of super softs on the women's side from the Southeastern Conference? Pauline Roussen-Bouchard from South Carolina and Ingrid Lindblad from LSU. They put others on notice come the spring, and we are all excited to getting back to what we hope is a normal college golf season in 2021. Trips back, and how much of a catch-up game is it going to be for those conferences that did not play? We're going back to now maybe 10 months since they have played competitive golf.
Yeah, as a team, for sure. Yeah, I mean, individually, these guys have been playing some golf where they can. The one thing about it, Steve, that I would definitely say is that I think the 2 conferences that did play will have some advantages, because you're able to – fall seasons were never necessarily a predictor of who was going to win the national championship. I mean, that goes back to, when I was playing college golf at Georgia Tech. You just never – you wanted to have a good fall, but if you had a bad fall, you're like, okay, this is what we need to work on, and this is what we work on in the offseason, so when we get back in the spring, we can do it. But again, I think the advantage here is the fact that you were playing. And you do have your teams, your lineups, the coaches can hit the grounds running. They don't have to shuffle around. They've got good idea. And, you know, my good friend is Bill McDonald, the coach at South Carolina, and we were roommates at Georgia Tech together. And he said, I am so glad that we got to play. It was really cathartic a bit for them to get out there and do it. And he's got his lineups. He's got some guys that he knows he can put in and count on. And that's really important for the coaches and the players to get used to playing in a team environment, for everybody utilizing those things. And the disadvantage the SEC had is it's one of the deepest conferences out there, as you know, and they had to play against everybody else. So some teams could play pretty well and finish down there. So you got beat up a little bit in that SEC with the depth of quality of fields that they had.
Yeah, but there was a sense of gratitude by all the teams that had a chance to play this past fall. And you made an important clarification. Those that didn't, they found other places to play, but it's that team unity that tries to build heading into the national championships. This past spring, Pepperdine's Sahith Theegala won the Fred Haskins Award presented by Stiefel. That is given out annually to the top male collegiate golfer. Sahith has turned professional. Pepperdine still very, very good. They won the Eastlake Cup just over a month ago in Atlanta. But let's take a look at the watch list and something to keep in mind. You're going to see plenty of names here who did not hit a single shot in the fall. We mentioned those 3 Power 5 conferences that did not compete, but they've got a resume that you think could certainly continue to build on something and try to win that award. You've got a lot of players back for that bonus year. Quade Cummins from Oklahoma, he already had a redshirt year. He's in his 6th season in Norman, Oklahoma, but this is just a little teaser, if you would, to give you a bit of a tickle who to keep an eye on come the spring for some of the top names. We alluded to Davis Thompson, William Mall, a couple of standouts from the fall campaign. John Pack, a senior from Florida State, #1 in the PGA Tour U rankings. We'll have those updated Wednesday on Golf Central. You talked about your time at Georgia Tech. Past recipients of this award: David Duval, Stuart Sink, Matt Kuchar, Bryce Mulder. How did the Haskins Award and the success at Georgia Tech help build the foundation for the program that is now in Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, when I was there, we were really starting to become a good program. I mean, Puggy Blackman kind of built that in the 80s, and I was there in the late 80s, and the part of the program and the prestige of it. And we didn't really have anybody that was chasing at that time till David Duval got there. And I remember the first time I played with David Duval, I was like, he's really good. He got there. He was 17 years old when he got there, and he was very, very solid. So I knew there was going to be great things ahead for him. Now, did I think he would take down Tiger Woods and when Tiger was Tiger and to be #1 in the world? What an accomplishment for David. But I do think that it's now on radar for those type players. It's you look at the list of guys that have won the Fred Haskins Award. They go on to success on the PGA Tour. I mean, that's just a given. And almost all of the Fred Haskins winners go on to win on the PGA Tour. So I think getting that honor, being the best amongst the collegiates is such a predictor of success. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen somebody win that and not go on to bigger and better things on the PGA Tour.
And it's what all these young men are trying to get on their mantle. They want the Fred Haskins Award. As you said, Ben Crenshaw, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, just a few of those who have won it in the past. The Haskins Award, that is. The Annika Award, that was given out in 2020 as well. And Natalie Srinivasan from Furman, she won the 2020 edition. That award handed out to the top female collegiate golfer. And for Natalie Srinivasan from Furman to go out and make a statement, that's not a Power 5 program. It just gives you a sense of what she did the 19 and 20 season to pick up that honor. Again, we give you a watch list heading into 2021. And again, like the men, plenty of these women on this list did not play college golf, so work to do. Maybe an advantage for players like Ingrid Lindblad and Pauline Roussen-Bouchard, who arguably 2 of the very best in the country, but they had great fall campaigns. So you pop out to like Amelia Miliaccio, the senior from Wake Forest. We know how good she is, but when it comes time to vote, how much credence will be given to the fall campaign? That's certainly something to think about. And we rattled off 20 names there. Gabby Ruffles, the senior from USC. Why do you think she'll continue to be on that short list throughout the campaign?
Well, I mean, you look at her amateur resume. I mean, she won the U.S. Women's Amateur runner-up. In 2019, she won it runner-up in 2020. So, I mean, she's got all the things now. She's getting some LPGA experience, too. So, Burko, I think that is another one of those things, even though they're not necessarily being able to play, collegiately, but getting that kind of exposure is always great for someone and helping them gain confidence going forward. But I definitely look for her to have some success when they start playing.
2 weeks ago, Se-Young Kim won for the 12th time on the LPGA Tour with a 3-shot victory at the Pelican Women's Championship on the west coast of Florida. And with the victory, she became the 3rd winningest player from the Republic of Korea, trailing only Se-Ri Pak and In-Bi Park on that list. Now let's take a look at who's in contention for the LPGA Rolex Player of the Year award. And what do you know, Se-Young Kim at the top, In-Bi Park, Danielle Kang rounding out the top 3. You see Minjee Lee, she's 8th on that list. She's in the field this week in Texas and caught up with our Karen Stupples earlier today.
Well, thanks, Steve. And for the first time, I think I'm really glad to be actually wearing my mask because it's really quite chilly here in Dallas this week. But I've been joined by Minjee Lee. Minjee, thanks very much for joining me here today. What are some of the challenges you're going to be facing this week playing on this course in these conditions?
I mean, definitely when we play like in the middle of the year, it's much warmer, so it's much cooler conditions. I mean, obviously if the wind gets up, it's going to be a little more tougher, but the greens are in really good condition, so they're rolling really nice, and I think overall the course is in great conditions, so I think we're going to have a really good week.
And what are your kind of expectations with regards your play? You're just coming off of a fantastic victory in Dubai under the lights, and how will that translate to this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've been striking it better and putting it better. I think just coming off Dubai with a little bit of confidence from that win. So hopefully I can have a good week here and have a good momentum going into next couple weeks.
And you mentioned those next couple of weeks, obviously the US Women's Open coming up next week. How you keep your mind on this week and not try and think ahead till then?
I think it's pretty hard to get ahead of yourself in these conditions. So I think one shot at a time is going to be really important this week. So I think that's really going to keep me in the game.
Well, brilliant. Thanks very much for your time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.